Good morning everyone, welcome to your Thursday maths lesson, which is the last video lesson of the week. Today we are going to be doing subtracting fractions, which is very similar to yesterday's lesson, which was adding fractions, except that we're subtracting. So this one should be pretty simple for you. Okay, here are the answers to Wednesday's worksheet. So if you're a little bit behind on your lessons for whatever reason, and you haven't yet done Wednesday's worksheet, fast forward through this bit so you do not have the answers and therefore cheat. So, pause the video here, mark your own work. If you haven't got something right, have a look and here are the correct answers and maybe you'll be able to correct it. There's also a slide as well. Okay, so here we go with subtracting fractions. It's very similar to adding fractions, except that you are subtracting. So, have a go at this question. Amir has 3/5 of a roll of ribbon. He cuts 2/5 of the roll off. What fraction of the roll does he have left? Firstly, what is the fraction subtraction calculation that you need to do? So it's simply 3/5 subtract 2/5. Now, do you remember, as in yesterday's lesson, in your adding fractions, the denominator, is the unit or the label. So it's basically just saying 3 somethings minus 2 somethings, or 3/5 minus 2/5. So here is your fractions image. Here is 3/5. Shaded in, and we have removed 2/5, leaving us with 1/5, and we know that 3 subtract 2 equals 1. So when the denominator is the same in either adding or subtracting fractions, it is as simple as adding or subtracting the numerators. So 3 subtract 2 equals 1. So Amir is left with 1/5 of his roll of ribbon. Okay, now it is your turn. So here is your fraction subtraction question. Ron has 5/8 of a bottle of water. He drinks 3/8 of the bottle. What fraction of the bottle is left? Okay, pause the video here, have a go at that question, and then come back to the video and we will go through the answer. So pause it here. Right, so we know Ron has 5/8 of a bottle of water. So here is our image. We have split into 8s and we have 5/8 shaded in blue. He drinks 3/8 of the bottle. So there you go. We've removed 3/8. So how many 8s is he left with? Very simply, he's left with 2 8s. 5 subtract 3 is 2. The denominator is the same, so we do not need to worry about the 8s. He has 2 8s of the bottle left. Now, we have 2 8s. Can we simplify this fraction down further? 2 8s is the same as 1/4. This is 1/4. Okay, so here is another question. So we have Ron has eaten 4/5 of his pack of sweets. Eva has eaten 2/5 of her pack of sweets. How much less has Eva eaten than Ron? So what we need here is 2 different bar models. So we have Ron's bar model, where he has eaten, in yellow, the 4/5 of his pack of sweets. And here is Eva, and her bar model, she has eaten 2/5 of her pack of sweets. So what we need to work out is the difference in the amount that Ron has eaten compared to Eva. So this is the difference between them, and the difference is 2/5. So Eva has eaten 2/5 less than Ron. So this is just a word problem that's worded differently to talk about the difference. But when we hear the word difference, we know that we need to subtract in this case. So it's essentially saying 4/5 subtract 2/5 equals 2/5. Okay, it is your turn again to have a go at one of these word problems. So, your question is, Jack and Alex are running a race. Jack has run 4/9 of the distance. Alex has completed 7/9. How much further has Alex run? Now, I would suggest what you do is create two separate bar models. One for Jack, displaying the 4/9 he has run, and one for Alex, which shows the 7/9 he has run, and then it's simply asking you to work out the difference. So pause the video here and have a go at that question. Okay, so what we need to do is we have Jack and Alex. Those are their 9ths, so you have all the 9ths here. So this is a bar model of 9ths, and this is a bar model of 9ths. Now, Jack has run 4/9. Alex has run 7/9. So we need to work out how much further Alex has run than Jack. So we're basically working out the difference between their two distances. And this is the difference, which is 3/9. So Alex has run 3/9 more or further than Jack. Now, 3/9 would be fine, but we can simplify 3/9 down again, because 3/9 is the same as or equivalent to 1/3. So, well done. I'm happy if you got 3/9 and you didn't then do your simplification and simplify it down to 1/3. 3/9 is fine for now, but if you did in the future, let's try and make sure that we're always simplifying down. So well done, everyone. Right, it's your turn again. Use the bar models to help you if you need. You have 3 questions to complete. You have 9/13 subtract 4/13. Then you have 5/8 subtract 1/8. And then finally you have 6/6 subtract 4/6. Now remember, if you can, please try and simplify your fraction down to its simplest form. Use the bar models to help you if you need. Pause the video here, have a go, and then we will come back. Okay, so question 1. 9/13 subtract 4/13. Now, we know we do not do anything to the denominator because the 13th is the unit we are talking about. So we have 9 subtract 4, which we know is 5. So our answer is 5/13. And that fraction is in its simplest form. Right, next one. We have 5/8 subtract 1/8. We know that 5 subtract 1 is 4. So we have 4/8, which is in its simplest form, a half, 1/2. Because we know that 4 is half of 8, so half. Finally, we have 6/6 subtract 4/6. So 6 subtract 4 is 2/6, which in its simplest form is 1/3. Well done if you got those right. If you've got anything wrong or you didn't quite get it down to its simplest form, don't worry. Just have a look, see what I've done, and make your corrections. Right, this question is slightly different because it has some mixed numbers. You can see that we have a whole already. So, let's read the question and work it out. Ron has 1 1/6 litres of water. He drinks 5/6 of a litre. What fraction of water is left? So, here we have 1 1/6, because we can see here that our 1 is represented in a bar model as 6/6, because we know that 6/6 is the same as 1 whole, but it's 1 1/6. So here's our 1 and here's our 1/6. And he is drinking 5/6. Sorry, so that also equates to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 6. So that might be an easier way of looking at that. So then we will do 7/6, subtract the 5/6 he's drunk. There they go. And we are left with 2/6. Now, we can simplify that down further to 1/3. So, when you get a question where you have a mixed number, so you have 1 and 1/6, the best thing to do is to turn that whole into the 6, or into the units, the fraction that it is. So we've turned 1 and 1/6 into 7/6, so that we can then simply do 7/6 subtract 5/6, or 7 subtract 5 is 2/6. Okay, now it's your turn. So use bar models to help you if you need. So this time you're dealing with ninths. So we have Rosie has 1 5/9 packets of crisps. She gives 4/9 of a packet to her friend. What fraction does she keep for herself? Now, remember, I think what I would do is turn this 1 5/9 into the amount of ninths that you have, and then subtract the 4/9. So pause the video here and then have a go. Okay, so we have the whole, and the 5/9. So this represents what Rosie has to start with. She has 1 5/9, which equates to 14/9. So she gives 4/9 of a packet to her friend. So we simply do 14/9 subtract 4/9 equals 10/9. So it's as simple as that. If you turn your 1 5/9 into the fraction 14/9, you have a much simpler subtraction calculation to do. And now 10/9, that's an improper fraction. So we can turn that into a proper fraction, into a fraction as 1 1/9. So if you got 10/9, that's fine. If you then turned it back into a mixed number and you got 1 1/9, well done. Okay, so now we have another question. We have 7/3 subtract 1. 7/3 subtract 1. So here are 7/3. You can see clearly. And we know that one whole is the same as excuse my writing, 3/3, because 3/3 is the same as a whole. So all we have to do is take away those 3/3. 1, 2, 3. So we are left with 4/3. So we're simply doing 7/3. We can turn that 1 into its fraction, which we know is 3/3, because 3/3 equals 1. So then we're simply doing 7 subtract 3 equals 4/3, which then we could turn back into an improper fraction, which is 1 1/3. Okay, here's one for us to go through together. So, Tommy is reading a book. He reads 3/8 on Saturday and the rest on Sunday. What fraction does he read on Sunday? So, we're talking about eighths in this question. So here we have our eighths bar model. This is the whole. So this represents the whole book he is reading. So we have 8/8, which equals one whole, and in this case, one whole book. So our question is 8/8, so the whole book, subtract the 3/8 he's already read to leave us with what he's reading or what he reads on Sunday. And 8/8 can also be represented as 1. So this question could also read as 1 subtract 3/8. So let's subtract those 3/8. There they go. We are left with 5/8. Again, 5/8. So if you see a question where you have 1 subtract a certain amount, 3 in this case 8, you know that 1 is going to equal in this case 8/8. If this was, say, 1 subtract 2/5, it would be 5/5 subtract 2/5. So what you need to do is work out what the whole is before you subtract the other numbers. Okay, now it's your turn again. Here are 2 questions for you to have a go at using, here we have whole numbers subtracting fractions. But remember, all you need to do is turn that whole number into its fraction form to help you. So pause the video here and have a go at these questions and then come back to me. Okay, so question 1 is 1 subtract 3/5. Now, we're dealing with fifths here, so we know that that 1 is the same as 5/5. So if we have 5/5, which is seen here on the bar model, and we subtract 3/5, we are left with 2/5. Now question 2 is slightly different because there are 2 wholes. So we have 2 subtract 1/9, so we're dealing with ninths. So we need to work out that whole number equates to a certain amount of ninths. And if we know 9/9 is 1 and double 9 is 18, so 2 9s are 18, so 18/9 is the same as 2 wholes. So here we have our 18/9, and we have subtracted 1, and we are left with 17/9, which is, as you can see, is an improper fraction, so we're going to change it to a mixed number. So we're then left with 1 and 8/9. Okay, that's the end of our final video lesson for this week. So you have a worksheet to do now, and remember, if you get stuck at any point, just come back to this video, scroll through and find the part in the video that will help you with your question, and that should help sort things out. Also, using these bar models to help you is integral. I think it'll be extremely helpful if you're stuck on any question. For example, if you have a whole number and you need to subtract a fraction from that whole number, turn that whole number into the bar model of the amount you need. Okay, good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing your work.